G'day, I'm Schuey from Smoked Barbecue Sauce, and today I'm going to be cooking a spatchcock turkey. So let's get into it. That's right, today I'm cooking a spatchcock turkey. Now when I'm cooking turkey, I do prefer to use a smaller bird. I find the flavour is more intense. If you have a lot of people to cook for, by all means, cook 2 birds. This one here is a 10-pounder, more than enough meat on it for a family of 6 and some leftovers. Now to prep this bird, I'm just going to dry it with some paper towel. I'm going to flip it over and expose the backbone. Now using a pair of shears, we're going to cut along both sides of the spine and remove it. Now I'll keep this for making some stock later on. So into a Ziploc bag with that, mark it and put that into the freezer. Now we need to flip the bird back over, flatten it. To make carving the breast up easier, we are going to remove the wishbone by slicing down both ends, and it should just come out. So today we're dry brining this turkey. Now not only is that going to help us get a nice juicy bird, but that salt, it's going to draw out moisture and it's going to give us super crispy skin. There are a couple of rules when you are dry brining. You want to go at least 1 hour per pound, at least, and half a teaspoon of salt to every pound. So what I do is I'll start by seasoning the inside of the bird by just sprinkling the salt throughout it, and then I'm going to flip it over and give the skin a good covering. Now onto a wire rack and into the fridge for at least 10 hours, but this one, I'm actually going to push this one to 2 days. I'm going to set up the Weber Smoky Mountain for high indirect heat today, and we're really going to be pushing those temps because I want to be cooking around the 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The way I'll do that is I'm going to light a full chimney starter full of lump charcoal, and once that's fully ashed over, I'm going to tip that into the charcoal ring that's going to be fully filled with unlit charcoal. I'll put the WSM together, put the lid on, make sure all the vents are wide open, and we'll just let the temp climb before I stabilise it by adjusting the vents. Well, look what the dry brine's done to the turkey. It's darkened it up, and the skin has pretty much all dried up. There's a few little tiny wet bits there, but we can fix that. What I love is the fact is the salt or the dry brine has helped dry that skin, so we're going to get a crispy skin once we've cooked this bird. But also with the salt dissolving, because it's drawn out moisture, it's then been sucked back into the meat, which has tenderised it and seasoned it. So to prep this, a bit of paper towel, as I said, we'll just dry it off, and then we're just going to give it a nice light coat of oil, just to sort of help brown it up in that cooking process. We want to put in 2 probes. We want to put one in the breast meat and one in the dark meat in the thigh, making sure we don't hit bones. Okay, it's just purely so we can keep track of the temps as we're cooking it. What I am going to do though is just leave this aside for a while because I want to get some bread into the smoker first for our stuffing mix. Once that's dry, I'll take it out and the bird can go in. Okay, it's now time for the stuffing. Now a few of you out there are probably going, well, you just split the bird in half, how are we going to have stuffing? Well, we're going to do pan stuffing today, and it's going to have a nice smoky hit from the bread that we diced up and dried in the smoker. Yeah? So next up, what we want to do is cut up some root vegetables to go into this. Today I'll be using leeks and carrots. Just remember to rinse any vegetables in water that can hide dirt like the leeks can. And now it's time to brown off some breakfast sausage. Essentially this is just spiced pork mince. Once it is browned, remove it from the heat, but add some of the grease back into the pan and leave all the fond or the crispy brown bits. It all adds flavour, and it's just time to cook those vegetables up. Once the veggies have softened, add some diced garlic, cook that off for a minute or two. Time to add some aromatics into this. Any herbs you like using for poultry will go well with this. Today I'm going to use rosemary, some thyme and some sage. Cook this off for a couple of minutes and then add just a little white wine. After a minute or two, add all of this into a large bowl along with the sausage and all that dry bread. Now slowly add some stock into it. Every piece of bread should have some moisture in it, but it should still hold its shape. Now once you've got that right texture, just add a pinch of salt and a couple of beaten eggs just to hold it all together. Now spread the mix evenly into a pan and it's ready for some more heat. Once the turkey is reading 135 Fahrenheit on the breast, it is time to get our stuffing in. So carefully lift the top rack out of the way, put the stuffing in the bottom rack, put the turkey back on, lid back on, keep cooking. So we've just put the stuffing in and it's the first time we've had a look at the turkey, and I think that skin could do with just a little bit of melted butter over it just to help golden it up. So the internal temp we were tracking down for the breast was 165, and the darker meat, that thigh and leg meat, we wanted to hit the 180, 185 mark. Now we all know that breast meat is done around 155 and dark meat is around 165, but by pushing it a little bit further, you actually break down all that collagen in the dark meat and you get more of a pulled pork type of texture. And I personally just think it's better, and because we've dry brined it, it's going to still be juicy. The fact is we have hit 165, so it is time to get the turkey out. Just put it on a chopping board and don't cover it up. We don't want to lose any of that crispy skin that we've just created. Check the stuffing, and if it needs a little bit longer to crisp up, move it to the upper rack and just leave it in there while the turkey rests. Now we get to see if all our hard work has paid off. Now, separating a turkey can be a daunting task for anyone that hasn't cooked one before, but it's as easy as finding the joints for the dark meat. So I tend to start with the thigh and the leg and remove them. Just bend it out of your way, find that joint, and your knife should go right into there. And then you can separate the leg from the thigh. Now do the same for the wings, just look for that joint. Now onto slicing that breast meat. Since we removed the wishbone, this has made it a lot easier, and it's that easy. I would have to call this one of the best comfort foods I've ever eaten. Juicy turkey and crispy stuffing. It doesn't get any better than this. The smells remind me of all the family occasions, everyone being around the table together. And the flavour is just holidays. Well, there you have it, spatchcock turkey. Although it takes a few days to prep with that brine, it's a super easy brine to use, and the results speak for themselves. By pushing the temperatures a little further than we normally would, that dry brine actually has time to shine, and it shows how much moisture it holds in. For the full list of ingredients or a step-by-step guide, check out the description of this video, or head over to smokedbarbecuesauce.com and find this recipe and a heap of others. Thanks for watching. Cheers. It's now time for me to dig in and have a feed. A spatchcock and I don't know why I'm yelling at you. Fly selection and trim. Fly. Where's that fly? Ah! Today we're dry brine. Can you hear that fly? Although it takes a, I'm gonna shoot that bird. That bird is gonna drive me nuts. Spatchcock turkey, I'm gonna about spatchcock that bird in a minute.